the archive of TechWorld Bangladesh, specifically items published on Monday, January 12, 2026. And this isn't just one topic, is it? It's a real cross-section of tech, economics, and creativity.
It's a beautifully disparate collection, truly. I mean, it's a perfect storm when you pull three pieces of news from the same day that cover unused hardware ports on your TV, national policy for the gig economy, and then Google's bleeding-edge image AI.
Right.
So our mission today really is to extract the core knowledge from these three areas and then maybe figure out what surprising connections exist between them.
Exactly. We're going from dusty hardware ports to global financial regulation and into an AI model named, Nano Banana 2 Flash?
That's the one.
It sounds like a surrealist, gross realist.
Yeah.
But I think each item has a really high-value nugget of knowledge inside. So let's unpack this. Maybe we should start with the immediate practical stuff, a hardware tip that might, save you some time and money tonight.
I think that's a great place to start. We're beginning with the physical infrastructure that, honestly, most people just ignore. We're talking about those empty HDMI ports on the back of your computer, your monitor, or especially your TV.
They just sit there, waiting for a Blu-ray player that you're probably never going to buy.
Right, they're just empty space.
And I think we're all sort of conditioned to see an empty port as just a potential future connection, not something useful right now. But the sources suggest we're missing something pretty fundamental here.
Correct. The key insight for you, the listener, is this. The empty HDMI port is not only a video input, it has untapped utility. And, in a world of constant upgrades, finding new functions in your existing hardware is, it's the ultimate tech efficiency move.
That's the meta lesson, which is important. But for a deep dive like this, we need the specifics. The source promises 5 surprising uses. So we can't just talk about potential, we have to talk about power. What can these ports actually do that we're overlooking?
Okay, let's pull out a couple of concrete examples from the source to illustrate this. One major function is utilizing what's called consumer electronics control, or CEC.
CEC, okay.
Most of us plug our devices in and just treat them as totally separate units. But CEC allows your TV remote through that HDMI port to control other connected devices, like a soundbar or a streaming stick, regardless of the brand.
So it's a unified control system that's just been hiding in plain sight. That immediately simplifies a cluttered coffee table full of remotes. What else?
Another crucial one, and one that's often misconfigured, is Audio Return Channel, or ARC. You might have seen that label.
ARC, yeah. I've seen that on ports.
And its successor, EARC. Most people run a separate optical audio cable from their TV to their sound system. But if your TV and soundbar both support ARC, that single HDMI cable can actually return the audio signal from the TV back to the soundbar.
Oh, wow. So you don't need that extra cable.
You eliminate an entire cable, it simplifies everything, and, often improves the audio fidelity.
So we've got unified control and simplified audio. These are things you can do, right now. It really proves the point that we don't always need to replace our hardware. We just need to learn the full technical specs of what we already use. It's about optimizing the digital real estate you already own.
Precisely. And there's even more advanced stuff like HDMI Ethernet channel, or HEC. It allows the HDMI cable to double as a rudimentary network connection. It's really versatile. And it's a great starting point for this deep dive.
Yeah.
This idea that value is often hidden in complexity we've just chosen to ignore.
Okay, that gives us the practical hardware fix. So let's leave the world of physical cables. Let's step into the sprawling, highly decentralized world of global economics. How does a single empty port connect to the vast complexity of the future of work?
It's a big leap, but the transition is from finding utility in established physical infrastructure to finding structure in the established but largely unregulated digital infrastructure of the global gig economy.
And the sources bring us to Bangladesh. Why is this country and this specific source so globally relevant to the conversation about freelance work?
Well, Bangladesh is a major, and I think often overlooked, global powerhouse in outsourcing and freelancing. It has this massive and rapidly growing workforce that relies almost entirely on digital gig work. So the government's actions there, they aren't just local news. They are shaping a crucial global economic trend. The source highlights a new era beginning for their freelancing sector.
A new era that's defined by structure.
Yeah.
So the government is introducing a new official platform for freelancers. They're moving away from a purely ad hoc system. And this move does 2 critical things, right? It formalizes the workforce through national registration, and it issues new digital ID cards.
And this is a critical global signal. I mean, for decades, the gig economy has been defined by its borderless, unofficial nature. It created enormous economic opportunity, sure, but it also left workers outside the traditional safety nets and formal recognition of the state.
So the digital ID card is the mechanism to change that. It takes a worker who might otherwise be invisible to the national economy and gives them an official, recognizable identity. But this is where the conversation gets a little more nuanced.
It absolutely does. When we look at this kind of economic formalization, we see immediate benefits. Things like access to official banking services, loans, maybe even Social Security or health benefits tied to their status. It grants legitimacy and stability. That's the big argument for the system.
But anyone listening to this is astute enough to realize that regulation always comes at a cost to autonomy. The question has to be, what are the inevitable trade-offs for the millions of freelancers who now have this official recognition? What does it cost the worker?
The cost is usually compliance and structure. Once a worker is nationally registered, holds an official ID, they are no longer operating invisibly. This brings in new tax burdens, mandatory fees, government oversight, and the very definition of a freelancer will likely be tightly regulated, which can, remove the flexibility and anonymity many of these workers value.
So the government gets accountability and an expanded tax base. And the worker gets legitimacy, but loses some freedom and faces a lot more compliance. It's a classic zero-sum game of stability versus autonomy. This tension is really crucial for understanding how digital economies are maturing all over the world.
Exactly. Governments are realizing this informal economy is just too massive to ignore. But integrating it requires building a really complex digital infrastructure, the platform, the ID card, that has to balance the needs of the state with the needs of this highly decentralized workforce. It's a pivotal moment in policy design.
It certainly is. Wow. Okay, we've gone from leveraging old ports to formalizing entire national digital workforces. Now let's make the final and maybe most jarring leap. From government policy to pure, unbridled creative innovation. From the structure of work to the tools of creation. Specifically, Google's latest AI experiment in image generation.
Get ready for the whimsical side of January 2026. The source describes Google testing a new AI model that's designed to fundamentally change the experience of picture editing and creation. And yes, the name is unforgettable.
Let's hear it.
Nano Banana 2 Flash.
I am going to assume that name's designed to stick in your head. And to indicate speed, which the flash part certainly implies. If this is a new step in image creation AI, what does changing the experience actually look like?
It implies a move beyond what we currently think of as image generation, which is often, about creating something from a blank slate or just doing basic edits. We're moving into a realm of instantaneous, deep-seated visual manipulation. You should think of it not as a filter or an editing suite, but more like a proactive, highly skilled creative assistant.
Okay, so if I currently use a tool to edit a picture of, say, a city street, I might adjust the light or remove a trash can. That's corrective editing.
Precisely. Nano Banana 2 Flash suggests a move toward generative assistance that's integrated right into that editing process. You aren't just adjusting pixels, you're telling the AI to reimagine the entire composition based on a complex prompt. Imagine taking that picture of the city street and just telling the AI, replace all the cars with floating zeppelins and change the architecture to Art Deco, but keep the original lighting.
And it just does it.
Yeah.
Seamlessly. Instantly.
That is the implication of the Flash moniker and the focus on changing the experience. The barrier to high-level, complex visual creation just plummets. And this radically changes the workflow for everyone from a professional graphic designer to, the casual social media user.
It definitely addresses the listener's curiosity about the bleeding edge. If you're in any creative field marketing, visual arts, content creation, this technology forces you to immediately reconsider what your job even becomes when conceptual input is all that's required. I mean, the ability to instantly generate vast quantities of visually stunning, original-looking content it's a tidal wave.
It raises immediate questions about authorship and the value of skill. When the AI is your partner and it's capable of this complex creative execution instantaneously, where does the human value lie? Is it in the initial concept, the final subtle adjustments? This AI is forcing us to redefine creativity itself.
It is the ultimate disruptive tool.
Yeah.
It's designed to maximize creation speed and minimize the need for technical proficiency. It's hard to imagine a tool more different from the official, structured system of the freelancer ID card we just discussed.
And that, I think, is where the three seemingly unconnected stories from January 12, 2026 finally converge. We have structure meeting chaos. We have formal identity meeting disruptive creation.
So we've covered everything from optimizing your existing hardware with the hidden powers of CEC and ARC, to the formalization of millions of digital workers in Bangladesh through national ID cards, and finally, to Google's creative revolution with Nano Banana 2 Flash. It's a snapshot of a world simultaneously trying to organize itself and invent its way out of organization.
And the connection between the government formalizing workers and the incredible power of these new creative tools, well, it creates a profound tension that I think will define the next few years.
And here's the thought for you to mull over as we wrap up this deep dive. How will this new wave of government registration and ID cards for freelancers, which aims to verify and structure human work, how will that interact with powerful, disruptive AI tools like Nano Banana 2 Flash?
Does the official digital ID become the new standard for verifying authenticity? A means of proving that the work you are selling as a freelancer was, in fact, human conceptualized or human executed? Or will the market just adapt?
Meaning, will the AI tool simply become another regulated and required skill set? Like Photoshop proficiency is now just listed on the freelancer's official government ID card, thereby integrating the Nano Banana right into the national economic structure.
Exactly. The world is asking whether the structure verifies the worker, or if the worker uses these new tools to define a new, officially recognized skill set. It's the battle between accountability and innovation, and it's playing out on a global stage.
A fascinating tension to observe. We really hope this deep dive provided some valuable knowledge nuggets and a lot of perspective on how technology is simultaneously organized and revolutionized. Until next time, keep digging into your sources.